Hello, my name is Thomas, and in this video I'm sharing the last letter that I have from Lieutenant Horace Ransom, a British Army officer who is buried in Milan War Cemetery, grave 6B1. On his gravestone it says, "His smile and gentle face are ever remembered by his loving wife, mum, dad and family." The last letter that I shared here was written primarily to his parents. His father was a butcher and Horace was expected to take over that family business. This letter was written to his younger sister, Hilda, who had just joined the Auxiliary Territorial Service. That's how the letter starts. He's asking about her experience with the ATS. But before I share that, I'd like to share the newspaper report of his death, which was very recently shared with me by a Ransom cousin.
Wounded on patrol. Ex-Steadfast boy dies as prisoner. Eldest of the 5 serving children of Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Ransom, who are in business as butchers at 35 Wick Road, Teddington, Lieutenant Horace Arthur Ransom has died in a prisoner of war camp in Italy at the age of 30. He was taken prisoner in the fighting near Ortona last December. Lieutenant Ransom came to Teddington at the age of 5 and went to St. Mark's School there. On leaving, he worked as a butcher for several firms locally, and at the time he joined the army 4 years ago, he was employed at Hook. He was, for many years, a member of the Steadfast Sea Cadet Corps and also of the St. John's Ambulance Brigade. He was married 5 years ago. In 1940, Lieutenant Ransom joined the Royal Sussex Regiment and was later transferred to the Airborne Troops and was commissioned. He then transferred again to the East Surrey Regiment, with which he went to Italy. However, at the time he was taken prisoner, he was attached to the Green Howards. A letter received by Lieutenant Ransom's wife from his commanding officer tells the story of his capture. A number of buildings near Ortona held by the enemy had to be reconnoitred, and Lieutenant Ransom took command of a patrol to carry out the job. As the patrol was approaching, the enemy opened fire, and Lieutenant Ransom was hit in the leg and fell to the ground. The fire became heavier, and he ordered his men to leave him and get back to their lines. Later, another patrol was sent out, but no trace could be found of Lieutenant Ransom. In February, information was received by his relations that he had been taken prisoner and was lying wounded in a camp in northern Italy. Later news stated that he had been operated on and was recovering. His death is apparently due to the wounds he received and to the effects of the operation. Reports revealed that he was buried at the Hero Cemetery at Gardone Gardès, northern Italy. Lieutenant Ransom was the eldest of 4 sons, 2 of whom are serving in the Royal Navy and 1 with the paratroops. His sister is in the ATS. The capture by the Japanese of his brother-in-law, Private Charles Reed, has been reported in these columns.
I mentioned before sharing this clip that this is the last letter that I have. There is one other written on the same day to his brother, who was also serving, of course. In that letter, he also makes plans for the future, as he does in this letter. He mentions that he was under fire and asks for that fact not to be shared at home. This is the letter that has come to me from my mother's mother.
A letter from Lieutenant Horace Ransom of the 1st Green Howards, 23rd of November 1943. Dear Hilda, first of all, I wish you a very happy Christmas and even better New Year, and I hope that you are keeping quite well. I cannot write to you direct, as I have not your address, but I don't think that it will be long delayed, though being readdressed. I hope that you like your job in the ATS, and that you are getting on well at it. I am most anxious to know more about what you are doing, about your progress, and how you like it. But up till now, I have heard very little news of you. Please don't forget to let me hear a bit more from you. I am writing this letter in hospital. I was sent back from the line the day before yesterday. I have acute tonsillitis and bronchitis, which, although not very pleasant, is much better than being in the front line. At least, in this awful weather. They are treating me like a lord in hospital. They are not very busy, so they have plenty of time to look after the patients that they have. As I have a throat infection, I have to be on a ward on my own, so I get extra attention to make up for that. The food, too, is very good indeed. I have plenty of books to read, and the Padre brought me in plenty of airmail letter forms, hard to get outside, so I shall do a lot of writing here. George tells me that you have been home once, and that you went to the Strand Palace, or was it the Regent PH? I hope you enjoyed yourself there. When I come home, I will take you somewhere new again. Roll on the day. Well, I hope the war will be over before you are old enough to come abroad. I don't wish to be unkind, but I hope you have to see the world at your own or your husband's expense. Your loving brother, Horace.